As the Biden administration works to get support in Congress for an ambitious agenda, the president's poll numbers are sagging. A Real Clear Politics polling average released today found roughly 52% of Americans disapprove of the president's job performance. Joining me now is Tom Bevan, president and co-founder of Real Clear Politics. Tom, welcome back. Always great to see you. So, Tom, what do you think is driving down President Biden's popularity, and how do his numbers compare to his predecessors, in particular President Trump, around the same time period?
So a couple things have been driving Biden's approval lower. Obviously, there are multiple crises that he's facing, whether it's immigration, Afghanistan, and now the supply chain crisis, inflation, economic numbers, all of those things. But in addition, I think more worrying for the White House, he has lost support across the board, but also particularly among independents on questions like, does he care about average people like me? Is he honest and trustworthy? Is he a strong leader? And those are the metrics, those sort of intangible metrics that are really vital to a president's approval rating, and the ones that are toughest to recover from once those numbers slip. As to how he fares historically, at this point in his presidency, Donald Trump was at about 39% in our Real Clear Politics average. Joe Biden's at about 43.5% right now. And Barack Obama was over 50% at this time. And even George W. Bush, we keep numbers all the way back to 2001. And he was obviously in post-September 11th, he was up in the 80% range. So historically, Biden is a little bit below average, but still above where Trump was at this point.
Yeah, and how do you think President Biden's numbers, how do you think those numbers are impacting the administration's agenda? Do you think that he can sort of, gain back some support for it?
Well, I mean, it certainly is making things tougher for members of Congress as they try and pass this agenda. Even though the agenda polls well, by and large, with broad sections of the American public, you do have a lot of Democrats in Congress in those swing districts, particularly in the House. You have some incumbent Democrats in the Senate that are facing uphill battles. Even Terry McAuliffe, who's facing voters in just a couple of weeks, has said that President Biden is a drag on his campaign. He is not popular in Virginia, particularly, again, among independents, which are about 30% of the electorate in Virginia. So I think it is making things tough for Democrats in the short term, but also in the medium term as they look ahead to the 2022 elections. If Biden remains where he is, if he's not able to recover ground, he will potentially be a drag on Democrats there as well.
Yeah, I want to bring that up. You mentioned the Virginia race. That's really getting a lot of attention right now. Can you talk more about, why that is?
Well, so very close election there. Terry McAuliffe, who was the governor of Virginia, is now running again, is up about 2.2 percentage points in our Real Clear Politics average. And he's running against Glenn Youngkin, and who's the Republican nominee there. And the concept here is that what Democrats have feared is sort of coming to pass, this sort of perfect storm where you have Democrats are not motivated to turn out. Donald Trump is not on the ticket as much as Terry McAuliffe likes to try and make it that way. And Glenn Youngkin is not considered in the Donald Trump mold. In fact, he beat two more Trumpy candidates in the primary under the premise that he could win back some of those suburban voters in the Northern Virginia suburbs that are crucial to the Democrats' coalition. And on top of that, you have the economy. As I mentioned, inflation is hitting folks, but also this education issue with critical race theory and this case in Loudoun County, the school board issue, and this case where this father, his daughter was sexually assaulted by a transgender student, which was then transferred and apparently did it again. So all of those things are really roiling this race and making it very, very competitive.
Tom, I don't have a whole lot of time left, but I do want to talk about this. Sticking with Virginia, as you well know, more than 300 black churches in Virginia are expected to receive a video message from Vice President Harris telling people to vote right after the service. In the video, she does express support for Democratic gubernatorial candidate Terry McAuliffe. However, there are concerns that she may have broken federal law because of that. What more do you know about that?
Well, I think this does raise a very serious issue, and one that I think is going to be looked into, because obviously churches with their tax-exempt status are not allowed to engage in partisan politics from the bully pulpit, and that clearly is what Kamala Harris is doing here, and also what Terry McAuliffe himself has done recently. He recently posted a number of pictures of himself in churches in Virginia from the pulpit, where he was clearly conducting campaign-related activities. And so I think this does raise a question, and I think it will be looked into and could become a real issue for McAuliffe's campaign.
Okay, got to leave it right there. Thank you so much, Tom. Always great to get your analysis. Tom Bevan, president and co-founder of Real Clear Politics. Thanks again.
Thank you.